watching too much James Hoffman. Good morning to you, and welcome back to today's JRPG Weekly Update. I'm SuperDerek, and guys, we don't have a whole lot of stuff to talk about this week as far as big news goes, but we do have a couple of things that are pretty interesting and worth talking about. So let's go ahead and just kind of give a follow-up here about Persona 5 Scramble. We talked about it about a couple of weeks ago, where some Asian retail marketers were saying that the English version would be available on their sites on February 23rd. Well, fast forward to a couple of days ago, Atlus released a trailer on YouTube that announced the upcoming release of Persona 5 Scramble with that date. The trailer also has since then been pulled, though, but it does live on YouTube to this day. Anyways, perhaps it was an accident or something. Maybe they accidentally jumped the gun about the announcement, but there it is. It's out of the bag and it's not getting put back in. The announcement trailer confirming a release date of the English version of Persona 5 Scramble for February 23rd. And would you believe me if I told you that that isn't even the big news that trailer revealed? Of course, there was the release date announcement. However, they also went out to say that this is not coming to just Nintendo Switch, not just PlayStation 4, but it is also, in fact, coming to Steam, which jives well with what Atlus and SEGA were saying before about after the release and the success of Persona 4 Golden, that they would try to bring more of their titles to PC. So this is, this is them making good on that statement. That's super cool, and I'm hoping that we will be seeing more Persona titles make their way over to Steam here in the coming months. Now, following that, we've got an upcoming Neptunia game that has also been confirmed as coming to the West, Neptunia Reverse. It is coming to us in 2021. This is an enhanced remake of Hyperdimension Neptunia on PlayStation 3, but it apparently also has roots going back to the Vita on a release that we actually never got here in the West, so there's like more complications to like the roots of this game than may initially meet the eye. This game is coming out in Japan on December 17th, and a Western release date has not yet been confirmed, but hopefully we'll hear one soon, and when we do, I'll be sure to send you an update. And then, continuing on, indie action RPG Kingdom of Night looks pretty dope. This is not necessarily a game that was just announced. This is one that just recently caught my eye, and I felt like saying something out about it here because I haven't had a chance to talk about it yet. This is a kind of like an Outrun themed sort of retro synthwave action RPG that takes place back in the 80s as you try to save your small town from Baphomet. It looks really interesting. It's got this really like low detail pixel art, kind of simple but also really flowy and really I think it looks really interesting. The combat looks like it could be really solid as long as it's nice and responsive, but we'll see. Kind of like a Zombies Ate My Neighbors sort of thing mixed with fighting zombies with swords in the 1980s. I know, it just tickles my fancy, but we'll see. What do you guys think? Does this look pretty awesome? I think it does, and it's coming to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, Steam, and Good Old Games in spring of 2021. And I did tell you that this wasn't a particularly long episode of the JRPG Weekly Update, but it is time for the weekly forecast. So, Tuesday, December 8th, we've got Temtem, which is that Pokemon-esque monster capturing, raising RPG from Crema Games. This is coming to PlayStation 5, and it is already on PC. Now, this is a game that I think looks pretty all right based on what I've seen. I haven't had a chance to play any of it yet, but I've seen others play it, and they're really interested in the game mechanics. And how the Pokemon or the Temtem that you capture have like a synergistic effect. It's a good step forward for this genre of games. I feel like the complexity, based on what I'm hearing, that sounds like, to me, the correct direction for a lot of these monster capturing and battling kind of RPGs to be heading, is to add that more complexity to further evolve the genre that Pokemon kind of established. I don't know if I would say they truly established it, since Dragon Quest V, I believe, also featured capturing and training and using of monsters in battle. But anyways, next up we've got Heroes of Loot, which is an action RPG from Orange Pixel. It is coming to Switch. It is already on iOS, PC, and Vita. And then on Thursday, we've got a couple of games that people have been waiting on, starting with Brigandine, The Legend of Runergia, which is a turn-based / tactics strategy RPG from Matrix Software, and that is coming to PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch. And then also, we've got the very, 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 very long-awaited open-world, cyberpunk-themed Western-style RPG based on the Cyberpunk pen and paper RPG being developed by CD Projekt Red, called Cyberpunk 2077. That is releasing this week on PlayStation 4, PC, and Xbox One. That is Thursday, and I don't think I'm going to be able to pick up a copy very early on, but I do really want to take a look at this when it does come out, but we'll see. I can't make promises. It's a pretty packed schedule for me these days. And that leaves us with today's question of the week. And my question for you is, what is your favorite RPG rule or trope that you like to see broken? Whether it is simply eschewing common conventions or subverting expectations or just kind of straying from the rest of the pack in some way or other, what is one RPG rule that you just, whenever you see it broken, it just makes you happy? Or one that you would like to see broken more often? So this one's kind of tricky for me to answer at this point, because I really feel like I really enjoy most tropes that RPGs and JRPGs have to offer. I mean, go figure, I love RPGs in general, but I suppose that if there was one rule that I see that I like to see broken more often, is probably that whole being set in like a medieval sci-fi fantasy setting, or just the hyper-futuristic sci-fi. I feel like very seldom, at least for a very long while, it was very seldom when we would see RPGs set in the modern day and age, or close to it. But even now though, like we're seeing games like Persona and the new Yakuza, Like a Dragon, Earthbound, which are kind of giving us, like, I think we're a little bit spoiled for choice at this point, which is really great, but it's still, in my opinion, it still seems like the exception to the rule when it comes to turn-based RPGs. So I do really like to see those represented, especially in like a 16-bit style, which is, I guess, one of the other reasons that that indie RPG I talked about earlier just kind of really struck a chord with me. Like when I'm playing through Terranigma, and there's that section where you can go to Neo Tokyo, and it's like this it's like Tokyo, and you can go visit the buildings and Quintet and like visit the developers and stuff. That's always really appealed to me, to see little 16-bit computers on a computer or on a console. I don't know why that makes me happy, but it does. So that's my answer, even though, like I said, right now that's kind of no longer really the exception to the rule. What are some rule-breaking RPGs that you particularly enjoyed? Let me know down in the comments below. I'd like to thank you for your time this morning, and I hope you all have a wonderful week. I am SuperDerek, and this has all been news to me. Have a great week, everyone.